Welcome to One Place in Conversation podcast. I'm joined with my co-host today, David Regan. Hi, David.
Hello, Saifur. How are you doing?
I'm good. So, today is 1st of February. Today is time to talk. We've got two special guests with us.
Hello, welcome, Scott. Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks for having me.
So, time to talk. What is time to talk?
For Time to Talk Day, I'll just give you a little bit of a background information for those that don't know. It's the nation's biggest mental health conversation. This happens every year. It's a day for friends, families, communities and workplaces to come together, basically to talk, listen and to change lives. Time to Talk Day in 2024. It's taking place on the 1st of February. It's run by Mind and Rethink Mental Health Illness and has been delivered in partnership with Co-op for the third year running. The more conversations we have, the better life is for everyone. Talking about mental health isn't always easy, and sometimes it's even harder to say how you really feel. But a conversation has the power to change lives. Time to Talk Day is a perfect opportunity to start a conversation about mental health and well-being and to help break down the stigma that so often exists around the subject. It's an opportunity to share awareness of the great local support services that are available, as well as acting as a reminder that we can all do our bit to spread hope, kindness and help to each other.
Exactly. Yep. So we're gonna start. We're gonna start by introducing our guests. We've got Andrew, and we're joined by Scott. So, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Longhurst. I'm actually one of the trustees of One Place East and the future walk leader for the Redbridge Proper Blokes Club Walk, which is happening in the spring. There we go.
Okay. Scott.
Yeah, hi. My name's Scott Johnson. I'm the founder, I guess, of the Proper Blokes Club, and we run weekly walk and talks around London.
Do you want to give us tell us a bit more about Proper Blokes Club?
Yeah, so it started in September 2020. Just due to a space that wasn't really filled. I was working at the time, and I couldn't find an activity with a group of people that allowed me to talk openly about how I was feeling at times. You know, there was stuff during the day, there was stuff on weekends which wasn't suitable, but I personally found walking, exercise, linking it with mental health, it's always made me feel really good. And I wanted to try and put that out to other people and just see if it was something that could cross over to some other blokes in need, you know. And we started our first one in Southwark, down on the Thames Path in September 2020. And roll on just over 3 years later, we've got 12 walks a week. We're in 9 London boroughs. Soon to be 10, with Redbridge obviously involved, and we've got around 350 men that's involved in it, within all the groups, and we have on average between 80 and 100 lads per week out walking and talking. But the WhatsApp groups we can carry on the conversations away from the walk as well. So we're always creating that safe space where men can come together and talk openly and feel safe about doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, often small acts have a big impact. And here at One Place East, we like to celebrate the power of supporting others. So, with that said, can you either both of you, can you think of an occasion where you've reached out and did a good deed for someone?
When I've reached out,
Yeah.
When I've reached out and well, it's a tough one. I guess when I first ever started the group itself, you know, it was never meant to be a career. It was never meant to be anything other than a small group of guys around my local area just coming together. And that's what it's meant to be. And I initially put the sort of the message out there just to see if we can get a couple of local lads coming down to the walk, and potentially we can become friends from it, and then the group would close down and we get on with our life, But I guess initially putting that branch out to people was something inclined to do, and with no alternative motive other than just to help some other people in need, and obviously it's grown a lot bigger than that.
Yeah, from my side of it, Proper Blokes Club has been absolutely momentous. I've been going there for about a couple of years now, and I mean, myself, I've been through life struggles, and it has helped me. I was being helped first of all because of my struggles, and now I feel I'm helping others. It carries on. You can carry on, and it's such a good support seeing all the proper blokes there, all the gentlemen, and they've all gone through life struggles. So you share the burden. A problem is a problem shared. It's really important to walk. When you walk, you en- almost encouraged to speak because way all the endorphins are going and everything. It's a very important group, I say, because men don't talk, and it's important for them to talk, and it just encourages them to talk. It's an opportunity for them to air their feelings or just have a chat.
Yeah,
Yeah. And also, I think being outdoors, it's so important for mental health, being around the environment, taking in fresh air, especially now that a lot of us are living in much more built up areas. It's really key to actually have somewhere to escape to. And as you quite rightly say, Andrew, I think for people to come together that have got similar issues, that don't necessarily talk openly or that find it very difficult to express themselves, to be able to do it in a relaxed environment around people that you can trust and people that are going through similar life experiences, it really is key.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, the feeling you get afterwards as well. I mean, how does it make you feel when you reach out to somebody and kind of give it that extra support and be there for somebody, and listening in, and yeah.
I think for myself, Sophia, I think, it reinforces the work they're doing. I mean, I've worked in mental health for many years, and I've worked with a lot of schemes. And as Andrew and Scott are quite rightly saying, the Proper Men's Club and giving men a space to talk. Because I think we know women seem to do it. They go to the hair salon, they get their nails done, they chat about their issues, problems. Men don't do that. We go down the pub, we do socialise, but to actually talk about anything personal without it being seen as a weakness, which it's not, because we're all going through it at some point in our lives. It's so vital that we can get these things off our chest. And I think to hear anybody's story, for anyone that's brave enough to talk about what they're going through, and just to even sit there for myself, I think, gosh, can I put myself in that person's shoes and just to lend a listening ear for somebody to offload to? It can make such a difference. Tremendous difference. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to coming out on the walks and joining you both.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, really, Dave, because a lot of people say men don't talk. We do talk, but we just don't talk about what matters, and what we're trying to create in these environments we have is to try and normalise those conversations. When somebody needs to talk about what's on their mind, they can do it in a safe and non-judgmental environment. But you can also get the normal chat that lads normally do. It might be football or work or whatever it may be. It ain't just a case of coming down to these walks and it's all doom and gloom or anything like that. Like it's a bit of everything.
Yeah.
I know, Andrew, you're looking forward to getting your legs out there. Yeah, you're looking forward to going for a stroll, a good chat.
Yeah. And as well as just the local walks, we've organised the big walks all, all, all over different parts of London. We've been to Sea to walk, the big walks, and we have dinners. I've organised a holiday with a few proper blokes, and we're not just the area that you come from, you're friends with the whole network. You make connections, and it's such a good experience and it's also good to be part of something special. I think definitely.
Yeah, and I think what you just said there, Andrew, it's the nail on the head because it isn't just a 1 hour a week walk and talk with some lads and that. It can grow into a lot more for some people. You know, like we saying there, Andrew, we have what we call a big walk every sort of 2-3 months where we invite all the lads to come down to do a big joint walk, big in terms of attendances and big in terms of distance. So they can come for different reasons. They might just want to get fit. They might want to train up for these type of things. You don't have to come down to these walks if you're just in a bad place. Like, I would rather you come down, be in a great place, and have this support network there ready for when something does happen. No way can anyone go through life and not have a struggle at some point. You know what I mean? So I'd rather you have this support network around you when you need it. You know, and obviously different groups do different things. Some go to the football the weekend. Some do things with their kids. Do other stuff, you know. So it isn't just a walk; it's real. It's a real friendship and community.
So it really is open for anybody. What about somebody that's a bit worried? They're not necessarily that fit. You know, can you join a shorter walk, or are walks particular lengths, particular, fitness levels, or are they literally just open to anybody?
Yeah, literally, the walks are open to anybody. Really, we've sort of done them. They don't last any longer than an hour usually. They're up to about 3 miles at a real pretty gentle pace. Some are a little bit quicker than others, but you'll always be with somebody, you know, so you'll never be left on your own. So, so whatever walk you decide to go on, for example, if you couldn't go and join a Redbridge walk one night, you know you can go to the Romford or Upminster one, and it'd be same distance, same amount of time, same lads really, you know, with the same message. So we try and design the walks all the same in time and length, so you can interchange the walks if you want to.
Excellent. No, I'm looking forward to coming along.
Yeah, when is your next one?
So they're weekly. So if you're coming to a Romford one, for example, it's every Monday night down on Colton Road, and we have the one on Wednesday evening at outside Upminster train station, which is 6:30. So that's every single week, and that's another positive about it as well. Once we get a group of lads around the area, and that group might be 3, 4, 5 lads that are committed to the walk, that walk's permanent now, that stays in place. So we're not just going to be in an area for 2-3 weeks, pack up, say, see you later, now your support's gone, let's move somewhere else. If we get local lads that want to stick to it, commit to it, then the walk happens, and we can build a team around that over a longer period of time. But usually the walks only start between 4 and 6 weeks as a trial period to see what the flavour is around the area, see if people want to get involved. I will do all the promotional work beforehand on social media and get down and talk to guys like yourself that are a big influence in the local community to try and get the best possible start so we can lock down these walks in these areas.
Nice.
Amazing. Yeah, I think I'll come along to the Upminster one. That's not that far from me, so I've got no excuse.
More than welcome, mate. You're more than welcome.
So I've got another question for you both, and for all of us really. Who do you talk to when you need emotional support or have difficult decisions to make? Is there any particular person that you go to, or anyone particularly that you can find in?
I'm really lucky with this one now, actually, because before I started the group, my only person who I really spoke to was my actual counsellor at the time when I first initially started talking about what was going on. I didn't confide in parents or my partner or anything like that because I was still that way inclined that talking about your stuff is a bit of a weakness and also a burden on those you love around you, which is obviously not true at all. Once you talk to them, then they're pretty cool with it, you know, and if they are your loved ones, they're going to be understanding, you know, because I want to make sure you're right. But since starting the group, I've become tighter with quite a few lads, you know, so we do little individual daily check-in, just a message, see how you're doing and all that. So if you don't reply to one of them in one day, you've all of a sudden got loads of phone calls and messages coming your way to make sure everything's all right. So if anything now, I've got too many people that I can talk to, you know. And obviously we have all the groups, so I can go down to 4 walks a week if I wanna, you know, or 5 walks a week, including the Sunday one. So I've got a lot of space now. I'm really lucky in the sense that I've got a lot of support now, and obviously I think Andrew have vouched for this one as well since being part of the group. He's got a lot of people he can now talk to, and he's become really tight with some of the lads himself.
Absolutely, it's really important. It's a whole network of people, and you get special relationships. And when I go for a walk, I tend to work my way up and down the line of people because everybody that goes without fail, he's got their own take on life, and I enjoy going and speak with every single one of people in the group because that's what I do, and I enjoy speaking. And there was a time when I was quite withdrawn, not able to speak, but this really opens you up. These groups, proper blokes, and so important to walk and talk. And yeah, it is time to talk, definitely.
And do you find it easy to talk about your feelings and mental health? Do you think you've opened up more since joining these groups? If your confidence grown?
Yes, yes. Because every people in this group, they've had life struggles, and as we're men, we have similar struggles, and you can speak to somebody that's actually got the same struggle as you, um, and find out more about them, how they've coped with something, and uh, suggest ways of coping and getting through life, and being there for you on the WhatsApp groups, and which we've got several with each area, and it's so important to connect. Definitely.
Yeah, I think definitely the realization is that you're not alone in whatever struggle it may be. I think is the key thing. You know, I think whatever whatever it is that's happened to get you to that point, the feelings can be quite similar. You know, but it's your individual journey that's got you there that makes you unique in that sense. You know, but feeling of stress, feeling of anxiety, we can probably all relate to that somehow. You know, so well, this is a normal feeling. Let's try and take it in and try and find a way to positively cope with it. You know, with the help of the lads within the group and obviously your wider network as well.
And I agree. I think, after you have spoken to somebody, you've had that conversation, it makes you feel like that burden's lift. And I think it's about removing taboos. I mean, we've seen recently there's a lot more people on TV, high profile celebrities that are really starting to open up. I think footballers, members of the royal family, that are really showing their vulnerability and opening up and talking about their personal issues and their mental health. So I was going to say, Scott, how does it make you feel after you've spoken to somebody? Do you feel like you've shared and lifted that burden, the weight's come off your shoulders?
Yeah, definitely. It's I can really vividly remember the first time I had my first counselling session, and that feeling of normalizing those feelings that I was having. There wasn't a solution to my problem at that time. I needed to figure out myself that, but it was the reassurance of what I was feeling at that time and what happened. That was a normal feeling to have, and it is like a weight lifted from your shoulders, and even now, and when that was over years as well, so you can imagine the weight that was lifted, but now when anything ever really gets on top, I usually release it quite quickly with my own sort of ways of coping. It could be exercise, walking, running, whatever it may be, or reaching out to people who are part of the support network, But yeah, I still have that feeling of a weight lifted off the shoulders, definitely.
What about yourself, Andrew? Do you feel the same?
Yeah, it's as I said, a problem shared is a problem shared, and it's so important just to get out, even if you're feeling really low or really up. You go to the group, and everybody accepts you the way you are, and you just speak or don't speak. You don't have to speak when you go there. Just walk, and it's just important to connect. And if you need to say something, there's always somebody there to speak to and share your problem. Definitely.
Yeah, do you know what? I think that's so important. It's not about having to speak or feeling forced to speak or feeling like you have to say something. Sometimes just stepping back and listening is just as important, and taking things on board, because then when you meet the following week, you can input, you can say things, your confidence might be that much higher. Because it can be quite embarrassing. I think sometimes people are really scared of saying the wrong thing or saying something that might offend or cause upset. So it's nothing wrong with just sitting on the sideline and listening and not having any input. There's no shame in that whatsoever. I think that can be quite as important as actually taking part in the conversations themselves. So that's interesting.
It is interesting. You did make some good points. What do you think are some of the benefits of talking?
I think David sort of went on to that with his previous question about that feeling of the weight off your shoulders, and definitely even if you take a little bit more time to talk, so you might not actually say anything, but that feeling, knowing that you can when you want, that can also have the same benefits as well. Like we've had lads who have come down to the group, sorry, and literally I haven't said anything for an hour and a half or whatever. They've literally just released absolutely everything because they've been waiting for this opportunity. But then it might be a case of where I spoke to someone and they've just listened to me that day, or they might have just said a little bit. So so it might not even be a case of how you feel when you actually physically talk, it's just a case of being in that environment, that feeling of being in an environment where you're not going to be judged, and they start to know that. So it's definitely David and nail on the head with obviously the feeling of that weight off your shoulders. That's personally for me, and from other lads who I've spoke to, that they've said pretty similar stories as well.
Yeah, I think it's quite important to talk, but another aspect, you lose a bit of weight maybe walking around. You're feeling good. The endorphins are flowing. Your brain is full of oxygen, and that encourages you to speak and share and and be whoever you want to be in the walk. Definitely, yeah.
Do you know what, Angela? I think you've hit the nail on the head again there. I think, to be in an environment where you are coming together, and you're getting the health benefits, the mental health benefits, the well-being benefits, the nutritional, probably, you're talking about food, what to eat. And I think when you join a gym, January, we all do it. I've eaten too much over the Christmas period. I've put on loads of weight. My clothes don't fit. I've got to lose weight. And joining the gym is quite often the first thing that people do. But in a gym environment, quite often people don't talk. You're on your own piece of equipment, you're doing a circuit, you're really focusing at yourself, but not those around you. So again, I guess going on these walks and being part of a group of people with similar experiences, similar stories, backgrounds, it really does make a difference.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with the gym scenario you just said there, it was I can't remember how many times I've joined the gym in January, and been once. I'm questioning myself, why am I here? Do you know what I mean? And then you leave anyway. But I think especially jumping on the new me, new you sort of thing for January is a really big opportunity for us to get guys that think, right, 2023 was a year that wasn't so great. Let's try a new way of getting fit, But that might be their way of saying, I need a little bit of help, need to talk. But we wrap that up in a walk, Like you get lots of other organisations that might do it. You might go and play football for an hour and have a chat after, or run, or whatever it may be. And we wrap it up with a walk. We can do that at the same time. And there's something about actually moving forward. It's making you feel physically good. But then having a conversation, it's like a double whammy of endorphins that are going off and making you feel good, within that hour space rather than 2 or 3 hours worth of it. So it really is good for time as well, But yeah, I definitely can relate to the gym thing. I've gave up too many times on the first day, mate.
I think we've all been there. And do you know what, Scott? This is free, isn't it? Walking, talking, it doesn't cost you anything. There's no financial input. You're not having to splash out on gym clothes, on equipment, on memberships. You can literally come along, give it a try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If you want to stick with it, it's not costing you anything. So, Yeah, I'm all for it personally. And we were doing a little bit of research before the podcast, and just a little fact here, just a snippet. Research, it shows that 40% of men have never spoken to anyone about their mental health, which I find absolutely shocking. And I think with schemes such as this, you know, we're really going to break those barriers and those boundaries and get people talking. So I know we've touched a little bit on it, but just finalising this section, what do you think makes talking such a challenge for some men? Do you think it's a stigma? Do you think it's, you know, personal embarrassment? Am I going to be judged? It's probably a bit of all of that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think all of the above really. I think the initial point is probably generational. I think that's probably a big issue. My dad didn't talk. His dad didn't talk to him. His dad didn't talk to him, etc., etc. That's probably a big reason, you know, because we're a product of our environment a lot of the time. You know, if that's what we've been brought up around, then that's what we think's normal. You know, like dad's sitting there on the settee, not talking to mum, you know, drinking a few Stellas, watching the football, don't want to talk about nothing to nobody, and then repeat the next day, you know. So you look at that, that's your idol, really, you know, for some people. And then that's what you're going to carry on doing, you know. And like we said earlier as well, like what I remember as a kid, like, it's weird actually, because I was brought up just by women. Like my dad weren't about or nothing like that, but they would usually be sitting around nattering all day long, you know, about absolutely everything. But I used to just walk away from it. It used to be an headache. Do you know what I mean? But it's really good how they do it, and I think it's a lot to do with who we look up to, who our influences are as well. And I think the younger generation, I worry about them slightly, because we're got the issue of toxic masculinity, you know, which is not good. You know, if you're very easily influenced by things on social media, that's a dodgy path to go down. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a place for masculinity, 100%. A man could be a man if he wants to traditionally, that's fine. It's when you become that toxic part, which is the problem, you know. And I think a lot of those toxic end people, they're very much, let's not talk about things, grit your teeth, grow a pair, crack on, all this rubbish, you know what I mean? And I think when you said earlier about the celebrities coming out now, so you've got people like Tyson Fury, who's one of the toughest fighters in town, who's going out saying, I suffered. So then what's the excuse for those people that think they're big, tough fellas that don't want to talk about it? Do you know what I mean? So I think generational is massive, you know, and I think now that's seeping into social media influences for the younger generation. So it's a real dodgy time at the moment. And I think the conversations that we're having now over the last 2, 3, 4 years probably are intensifying and really saying we need to start talking. We need to start talking. And everything comes down to more preventional stuff. You need to get into schools younger as well, you know, get these people talking to those guys to have better influences, because they might have a really rubbish one at home, but you might have a really good one at school, you know. So I always say this group is fantastic for people that need it, but wouldn't it be great if we never needed it? Do you know what I mean? It would be, wouldn't it? Because everyone's getting on normal and just socialising happily, you know. But unfortunately, we do. So I'm glad we do have it here for people that do need it.
Absolutely, and like I said, Scott, I mean, when you see celebrities coming out and talking about, you know, I think that helps, you know, the younger generation as well, because they then see that as, you know, their role models coming out to talk about their problems, you know, and they, you know, you hope that influences them to also come out and just, you know, talk to, whether it's their parents or, you know, their closest friend or whoever, you know. Oh, what do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with Scott. It's definitely, if, yeah, men. You never see a man cry or sort of give somebody a cuddle. It's okay to pat them on the back and say,
And men
"Come
cry.
on, you're right." Yeah, well, yeah, well, safer, yeah.
No,
But
you know.
but some people don't cry, don't show their emotions. It's important to be a man, but in inverted commas, because um, people think the stiff upper lip and that sort of thing. I'm a man. I've got to do this, like what Scott said. But what is really a man? A man should be showing his emotions and being himself. and feeling good about himself by speaking, letting off steam if he needs to by speaking with somebody, and yeah, it's definitely helped me. I know for sure, definitely. Yeah.
Do you know what, Andrew? I think like that phrase, that stiff upper lip, which I think as a nation we suffer from, don't we? You know, we're crying with pain inside, and we want to let things out. We're like, no, I mustn't show that I'm vulnerable. I mustn't do that because it is a sign of weakness. Actually, it's a sign of strength, and I think being able to get over those initial hurdles, those initial barriers, is a real sign. You know, I am strong. I want to change. I need to change, and I've got people around me that are helping me to change and to move forward and to, you know, put things in the past, to close a certain chapter and to move on and to get on in life. And as you say, most of us, all of us, have some kind of a life experience, something that has affected us, something that we've been through, something that's touched upon, you know, that will affect us on a day-to-day basis. So I think groups like this and coming together are fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to getting involved.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, leading on to that, my next question is going to be: I mean, have you ever tapped into a local service, you know, support service in London that you want to, you know, give a shout out to?
Me personally, sorry, was that question to everybody? Sorry, I ain't jumped in
Yeah,
about.
everybody.
No, definitely. I always there's two organisations that I would always big up. Obviously, the NHS first and foremost, because they're the ones that set me up on the journey of what this has become. You know, and obviously helped me out massively. That initial phase of cancelling through those guys was absolutely amazing. And then also Gamcare, who so I had a gambling issue as well, and they were the ones that are really a lifesaver for me, because that was the one that was eventually going to tip me over the edge, you know. But having a conversation with those guys really, really quick as well. The process was so easy. Just get online or phone them up, whatever you want to do. I've done it online, done a referral, and then within like about, I don't know, 48 hours, I had a reply. And then I was having one-to-one counselling with them within like a few weeks, which was fantastic, you know, and a real lifesaver for me. So those two are definitely the ones that have helped me out the most, definitely. So big shout out to those guys.
Well, for me, I'm involved in many charities other than One Place East. I'm also a trustee for HAD, Havering Association for People with Disabilities, which is a similar organisation. Also, My Health Matters. It's based in Havering, and actually under the umbrella of One Age UK. And also, I work with the British Red Cross, and also the Royal Voluntary Service, where I go around schools and other organisations, speak and try to get people volunteering. So there's many organisations that I'm very passionate about, and is very important, and encourage me, and hopefully I feel that I encourage them as well, definitely.
I think for me, Saifur, there's too many to mention. I mean, there's many that I've worked for in the past, but many that I've also, you know, sort of turned to in my hour of need, as it were. But I think it's important, you know, to identify organisations that allow you to, in my instance, to be yourself. And I think, you know, organisations that do offer a listening ear where you can literally pour your heart out. And whether that's the NHS, whether it's some Samaritans, whether it's a specialist service, a mental health service, you know, just for those people to be able to sit and listen and to advise and to sometimes signpost, you know, to sometimes actually offer you that one-to-one support, group support. There are some amazing workers out there, you know, and I think you have to remember those people that give up their time to support others. and many of whom have got their own lived experiences and that have dealt with and that are dealing with their own battles, that really do care, and support others to come through to the other side. So for me, obviously, I've got to give a huge shout out to One Place East, because I know we do some amazing work, but there are so many others, and quite a lot of the smaller charities as well, I think, that are often forgotten about, that do some amazing work.
What makes that? I mean, in your opinion, what makes that group or that service special?
Oh, what about the service that I just mentioned?
Yeah. What makes it?
Yeah,
So
no,
special?
I think a lot of what David said there. Actually, I don't think people get into this type of industry if they're not kind people. They're not willing to listen to and go that extra mile a lot of the time to help and support people. So in terms of I think those two services I went for, I was really really lucky, and there were literally two amazing people who helped me, and I really fell on my feet. And I'm pretty sure if I used any other therapist or anything in that system, they'd have probably been all the same, because as I said, I don't think you get into that if you don't help people. So yeah, they were really special people to me, and they always will be, because they've set me on the path of what I'm doing now, and that's allowed me then to pay that forward in a big way to help others, and that's like a domino effect. Like, you've got people like Andrew and stuff that's been a part of the group, and he's going to be a part of the new group we're going to set up around the area, and he gets to pay that forward, and then we start another one, and you know what I mean? It's just a real domino effect of positivity, So yeah, that's how I feel so far. Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have a counsellor set me up for life, really. I was, just a quick testimony. My parents died, illnesses were in the family then after that, and mental health was low in the family. And then I actually went into care, and then I had counselling at Richmond Fellowship House, and then I moved on, and my counsellor moved on as well, and so I missed out on counselling. So lucky enough, a few years ago, I actually got counselling again off a lovely man, Verinda, online in lockdown. Unfortunately, he died, but before he died, he left an amazing legacy of his words and help. It's humbling to think that what he's done for me, and also what he's given to me, I can share with others on proper blokes and others where I work, and it I make it part of my life to help others and talk, and help them. Yeah.
Wow, that is special, isn't it? Somebody that leaves a lasting legacy.
And I think, as Andrew says, we all have our lived experiences, we all have our vulnerabilities. And when we come together as a family almost, we support one another. And I think we can create those safe spaces in which we can be ourselves, we can show our vulnerability, we can share our experiences, our support. And I really think that's how we move forward. It's about removing that taboo, as we spoke about earlier, and the stigma, and actually saying, no, it's fine. We're only human at the end of the day. If you cut us, we all bleed the same. So for me, it's about being a part of something much bigger, where we support one another and we lift one another, and we carry each other forward.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last question for me, or I think David might have one.
So the last question to Scott and to Andrew, what one thing can you identify that would make the biggest difference to improving the mental health of Londoners? It's a big question, but here we are on the outskirts of London, or part of London. Any thoughts? Any ideas at all?
I think just people in general just being a bit more open to having these types of conversations would help massively. It's how people want to live their lives or what they want to do, or like that's irrelevant. If we have just a lot more understanding about and a lot more empathy as well, I think that's obviously a massive one. Like if we look at these people and try and say, look, these people are having these issues, right? Let's not judge them. Let's not do this. Let's not do that, and try and replace them with good stuff, listening, being kind. Lending an ear, whatever it may be. I think just empathy is a big one. For me, if we can make Londoners a lot more empathetic, that'd be massive, and it'd be a lot more nicer space, But and taking a moment as well, because London is a city that's 100 mile an hour at all times. Like everyone, you see it on the tubes or wherever it is, everyone's. Do you know what I mean? Just take a moment, be a bit more empathetic, and I think we'll have a lot more of a happier London, definitely.
Yeah, in my opinion, take time, like Scott said, and share whatever you feel. It's if you don't feel like sharing, listen and just be part of something. It's important to be part of something, I think, and to have somebody to listen to you if you need to, and for you when you need to talk, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, I think for me, sorry, Saif. Yeah, I think for me as well, it's having that time and that space to be able to step back and to reflect. And I think, the shutdown over COVID, the lockdown period, I think it gave people a time to actually step back and not to be swept away at 100 miles an hour with the general pace of a huge city such as London. But we actually took time to ourselves. And I think that when you do that and you can step back and reflect, you not only have time to repair yourself, but those around you as well. And I think it's about giving something back. It's about being part of something, being neighbourly, checking in on people around you, ensuring that people are okay, phoning a family member that you might not have spoken to in a while. It's all those little acts of kindness that I think come together to really make a difference, and we can just lift ourselves and lift others.
Absolutely. Well, with that, I want to thank you all for joining me today. It's been a great insight. It's been powerful, and I think your experiences and your thoughts will positively impact other Londoners. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, David, for joining me as a co-host. And thank you, people at home, for listening, watching. And that's been your One Place in Conversation podcast for Time to Talk. See you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Dance.